It was in the 5th day of the week I was unable to sacrifice my sister. I summoned Elizabeth in order to ask her a strategy to execute my sister. She came and manifested on the wall of my house in the shape of a drawing, and she told me, just turn your sister to a puppy and kill her gradually, start by her feet, then her belly and arms. We can also attack her with a sickness that would make her suffer before we finish her. For at the 7th day of the week she has to die as required by the temple. I was talking with the goddess Elizabeth about killing my sister, when a former girlfriend of mine came with her friend and she told me you are nowhere to be seen in bar and nightclub. Are you finished? We agreed to go out that night, but the goddess Elizabeth told me, how can this woman say that you are finished? This is humiliating, and she could not speak that way. She has to pay. Brother, I told you that spiritual husband and ladies of the sea are jealous when they are married to human. These water spirit attack and destroy marriages. If your partner is inhabited by a water spirit or a spiritual partner, your marriage is in danger, for spiritual partner are jealous and they destroy marriages. They create misunderstanding out of nothing with the intent of causing separation. The night we went out with these ladies to have fun, I was in the 4th day of the week where I was supposed to offer my sister as a human sacrifice. Our temple called to ask me about what is done to execute my sister. I told them I am working on it. Afterward I left home. I saw the pastor that my mother called entering our place, and he looked at me with an eyes of accusation. I told the pastor, very soon you will not be coming here. In the night Rachel was joined by her friend who came to visit her, and when they slept, I touched Rachel's friend on the forehead with a perfume. As a result she left her body, and I captured her spirit and I placed her inside a calabash, and I covered it with a palm leaf, that is used in witchcraft as chains. Then I placed the demon Akion inside her body in order to animate it until she died officially. In the morning Rachel came. She was complaining about pain in the belly. When I looked in her belly I saw the demon that I launched in her body who was moving in her tummy. I wanted to stop this demon from tormenting my sister, but I was forbidden, for Rachel was shortlisted for human sacrifice. Micheline told me, your sister must serve with us in the marine world when she die. I want to warn you not to intervene to try to save her. Later Rachel that was in torment fell to the ground in pain, and her belly became swollen like children that suffer from malnutrition. When my mother came, instead of praying she decided to take her to hospital like many people, who fail to pray for the loved ones. My mother went to buy a drink called Metro in order to calm down the pain. As soon as Rachel began to drink that drink, I saw a massive angel that was peeing in this drink that my sister was drinking. I invoked the Ocean Queen Micheline and I asked her, who is this angel here? She told me he is our discipline agent. I said, why is he peeing in the drink? She said he is feeding the beast that is in the body of your sister. Quickly I invoked the cherubim of Satan called Heavy, and when he arrived and when he saw this angel peeing in the drink, he told me he is powerful, there is nothing I can do against him. Actually this pee was demonic secretion that the beast that was in my sister belly was supposed to drink, and when that beast in my sister body drank the liquid he calmed down and stopped tormenting my sister and the pain was gone. Later my sister began to vomit, but she was vomiting things that were in the belly of the beast that was in her belly, instead of things that were in her stomach. It was painful for her. When I was leaving our place I saw the pastor coming and he told me, you don't go out, stay inside the compound. I told the pastor, who do you think you are to tell me not to go out? I ignored the pastor and went out. When the pastor got in I saw a group of people of my neighborhood. They brought my friend that had become dumb and could not speak. They were accusing me of being responsible of my friend's condition as my friend could no longer speak. I began to communicate with him telepathically. I told him, have peace, I will solve your situation. But you should not tell people how you have become dumb. My friend said to me, I will do what you say. Quickly I entered in my room. I took the snail. I also took the nail and hair of Rachel. I began to do invocation in order to restore my friend's speech and kill my sister Rachel. As a result I saw the angel of Satan Jorgen appearing, and he did a sign where he placed one of his feet on the ground and another feet was lifted up, and he also lifted one of his hand upward. When you see an angel doing this sign of lifting one feet up and one feet down and one hand up, He is surely an angel of Satan, for he is in contact with the Prince of Persia and the Prince of the Air. If you go to our national cemetery you shall see a statue of an angel doing this sign, for our cemetery is called Necropole. They say it is between heaven and earth, not the third heaven but the second heaven, the kingdom of Persia. I was doing prayer to restore my friend. The angel Jorgen told me, we already told you in order to do this you gonna need to work with a madman. Immediately I stopped to these invocation and I went out in the street to find a madman, whose body was the dwelling of all kind of demon. Among these demon were a demon that had the capacity to render people dumb and to make them speak. I established contact with him so that my friend can recover her speech. Finally I went back home and I did ritual in order to restore his speech. The following day my mother suggested that we take Rachel to the Catholic hospital. I was happy because a Catholic hospital is a place of demonic activity where it will be easy for me to execute my sister. When I went to visit my friend that was dumb, I brought him a corned beef and snail and water in order to heal him. When his family saw him eating the corned beef they joined him. When they all ate the corned beef I got a call from the Kingdom of Darkness congratulating me for sacrificing the whole family. Suddenly I saw the pastor that my mother brought to our house entering this compound. When the pastor saw me he looked at me and he looked at the food that the whole family was eating. By revelation this pastor knew that the food was not good. Then he called a member of this family and told her, "Remove this food that your loved ones are eating." I said to the pastor, "Why should they remove the food? Leave the food alone." The pastor removed the food and threw it away. As a result I saw my friend that had become dumb shouting in agony and he fell to the ground and passed out. He died on the spot. When this happened we were joined by the crowds of people who were accusing me of killing my friend, for I was the one who brought them the corned beef. I told them I have been coming here, I never did something wrong. I brought my friend corned beef that they were eating, but this pastor came here telling them not to eat the corned beef, and when my friend began to argue with the pastor and he fell. Since my word was bewitched the crowd believed me and they turned against the pastor. They told him, "You gonna tell us why this young man died?" The pastor said, "It is the person that brought them this food that is responsible for his death." But this crowd was unconvinced and they told the pastor, "You must tell us why the young man has died." The pastor said, "Alright, we got to know who killed this man." He drew a circle around the crowds and said, "We will now discover what is this corned beef that Bibi brought his friend." He began to pray. Afterward he took water and placed it on people's eyes and he said, "In the name of Jesus Christ, I command spiritual eyes of each one of you to open, so that you can see the spirit world and the nature of this corned beef." Suddenly the Lord opened the vision of a sister, who saw the real nature of the corned beef that baby brought his friend, which was actually a human feet, and when she saw this reality she fell to the ground in emotion. Then a second person saw the corned beef and she shouted, "Please God, this is too much, I don't want to see it." The third person say the corned beef is a human feet. Despite this demonstration the crowds took the pastor to the police. I heard the mother of my friend crying and saying, "Whoever is responsible for the death of my son will be struck by thunder." But Jorgen told me, "Don't mind her, she is just talking." Jorgen told me, "You have sacrificed your friend by mistake because the formula you had used was stronger for him." Then I went to the hospital where my sister Rachel was taken. When I prayed for her the pain in the body was calmed down. Though I prayed in the name of Jesus, in the spiritual it was a demonic prayer. When my sister regained some strength she told me, "Brother, I am seeing faces of people that are about to kill me, and among these faces I can see your face. You are among the people that I am seeing, that are trying to kill me." Since my sister had regained strength I took her to a church of a popular gospel singer in the city. When she saw her she said, "This is a powerful singer of the Lord." I told my sister, "You don't know her, but I know her real identity." This was a huge church site. After prayer in that church we were served food which were actually human part. I tried to stop her from eating the food for it was not real food. At that moment I heard the bell ringing 3 times to indicate the arrival of the god of the land. When he came he told me, "Are you trying to undermine our sacrifice? You're gonna give your sister that food." I gave Rachel the food but I asked her to pray before eating, but she ignored me like many Christians who don't pray before eating. Many days later, when I came to attend prayer in this church, I saw everybody in short and I wonder why is everybody in short. Quickly I was given a short to wear in order to join the assistants. During the prayer I heard a voice that told me, "You are now before the Queen Sheikh Idina." I asked her, "Who is Sheikh Idina?" She replied to me, "You saw me beneath the Atlantic Ocean when you came to see my father the Ocean King." Immediately I remember the Ocean King who appeared with a trident under the ocean. The goddess Sheikh Idina that was worshipped in the Satanic Church told me, "I will do things with you when you have fulfilled your mission of offering your sister as a sacrifice. Fulfill your mission first, then come back to me, for we have to work." Later the angel of Satan Jorgen told me, "You must offer your sister quickly, they are claiming her soul." Then I went to Rachel, who was sleeping in a room. I captured her spirit and I placed it in the calabash, where I had placed the spirit of her friend, and I took the calabash to the temple and these two captives' souls were placed in a cauldron. Jorgen told me, "We cannot kill her now, for people in your quarter are already accusing you of killing your friend. We will execute your sister when tension goes down, but let put these souls in the burning cauldron and let call the angel of God to keep them." This angel work in the lives of people to monitor their blessing and to stop them from possessing what belong to them. When I placed the calabash in the hot cauldron, Rachel's sickness got aggravated. When I learned that her fever was high, I went to visit her. While paying a visit to Rachel, I noticed a man who was looking at me and looking at Rachel. He kept looking at us suspiciously. The angel of Satan Jorgen told me, "This man who is looking at you and your sister know your identity and he know we want to execute Rachel. You must subject him to verbal abuse, so that he would leave us alone." Quickly I went on to use harsh words against this man and he left us. When my mother came, I saw this man that was looking at me suspiciously, accusing me to my mother, and he revealed to my mother that I was about to kill Rachel. Basically, before coming to visit Rachel in the hospital, my mother went to visit the pastor who was incarcerated in jail, and the pastor told her, "Your son Bibi is a Satanist. He want to kill your daughter Rachel and your house is haunted by marine spirit because of him." The pastor told my mother, "I am giving you specific prayer to cancel the death of your daughter." I rushed to Rachel's room and I began to do magic prayer in order to kill her. While I was in prayer, my mother was joined by intercessor and they began to pray for Rachel's recovery. As soon as they started to pray, I began to feel uncomfortable. The angel of Satan Jorgen told me, "Bibi, your mother is praying with intercessor, who came to pray for the sick in the hospital, and the man who was looking at us suspiciously has joined them." As they continued to pray, wickedness rose in my heart, for I was unable to execute my sister. They blocked and neutralized my ritual and magic prayer. When they had finished praying, I insulted the man who saw my identity. While we were arguing, we were joined by his son, who asked me, "Why are you insulting my father?" I said to him, "Please mind your own business." The man told me, "The person you want to kill will not die. You will die if you dare to kill her." I told him, "If you try me you will die." He asked me, "Do you know the one who is in me? There is nothing you can do to me." I told him, "I am looking at you, and I don't see anything. There is nothing in you that scare me, for you are empty." This was a Christian who was empty. He lacked a life of prayer and holiness, thus he was empty and not prepared for spiritual battle. When it was midnight in the hospital, I began to do magic prayer, sending rays so that I can be supported. It was then I saw my two friends joining me. They came with physical body. I saw that they came with the demon Pygus and the demon Johnny Walker. Pygus is the demon who strike his target with fire, wind, water and earth. Johnny Walker is the master of discipline in the world of Satan and he has a whip. When they came in the hospital corridor when people were waiting, Johnny Walker began to beat the young man who was arguing with me. He tried to shout for help but no one could hear him. Then we went away. In the morning the police came to arrest me for beating the young man. When I entered the toilet I turned to a cat and I ran away while they kept waiting for me. In the meantime the health of my sister was deteriorating and he was declared HIV positive. On that day in the night while I was sleeping something unprecedented happened. I saw the heaven descending to me. It was brightening cloud. When I entered the cloud I was bringing stain in the environment. Then I heard a very soft voice that I have never heard before, that told me, "Walk back, keep walking back." When I walk out of the light, I heard the man that was speaking asking me, "Do you know me?" I replied to him, "I don't know you." He told me, "I know you, I want to ask you to do something." I asked him, "What do you want me to do?" He told me, "Go release your sister that you have bound. If you release her spirit, one day I will come to save you." While the man was speaking to me, I saw the heaven and its shining light rising and leaving the earth. I saw a huge hand saluting me. Quickly I went to the temple and I told the priest, "A man appeared to me and he is asking me to liberate Rachel. I feel like I have to release her. But these priests oppose me." I told these priests, "I prefer to die in the place of Rachel." They told me, "In that case you will die in her place to compensate the sacrifice." Since I decided to release my sister, I went to see the demon who guard the cauldron where I place her spirit, and I told the guarding demon, "I came to release my sister and I am willing to replace her as a human sacrifice." I saw the cauldron being open and the spirit of my sister and the spirit of her friend leaving the cauldron where they were bound. I was about to be placed in the cauldron when suddenly I got the strength of an animal and I fought the demon guard in that place, and finally I went away free. When I went to the hospital I found Rachel vomiting things. Jorgen told me, "What your sister is vomiting is from the stomach of the beast. The beast is drinking your sister blood and what he is spilling out is what your sister is releasing." The angel of Satan said, "Your sister will die." I said no way, she would not die. We were in the hospital when I saw the pastor who was supposed to be in jail. When he saw me he told me, "Abby, I will not leave you, I will go all the way with you. I was in jail but the Lord taught me things and sent me out to deal with you." When the pastor joined Rachel he began to pray, and when he was praying he reached a level where I began to lose equilibrium. Actually this prayer cause we call spiritual earthquake and spiritual tremor. When the earth began to shake as a result of prayer there was no place to tread, for wherever I tread I was collapsing to the ground that was shaking. I heard demon that was accompanying me shouting in panic. These water spirit were instamped and shouting for help to me, because of the great shaking and tremor. They shouted to me telling me, "Baby, we are being destroyed, what are we supposed to do?" Quickly I instructed them to disappear and leave me alone to face this earthquake. These ladies of the sea had to leave me although they always walk with me, and they flee from the great shaking and tremor that hit the land. I began to observe what the pastor was doing. I saw the pastor placing his hand on the belly of my sister and he said, "In the name of Jesus, you demon, I pulled you out of Rachel's belly." When the pastor say these words, I look and I saw the short demon that I sent in Rachel's body. He was pulled out by the pastor who held him, and the pastor said, "I send you back where you come from in the name of Jesus Christ." Immediately I saw the demon returning to my body with speed, and I began to feel the pain. This demon was moving all over my body and told me, "You are the one who brought this pastor to cast me out. I will take my revenge." Later when I went home I found that everybody has fled the house, for the pastor has revealed that the house was haunted by demons. Later I called Rachel and I asked her how she was going. She told me, "I am fine and recovering." Suddenly Elizabeth called and asked me, "What are you doing? Do you think that your sister will escape death and run from us?" I told Elizabeth you would do nothing to her, and she asked me, "Are you opposing us?" I told Elizabeth you will not kill her. Later when I went to the temple they asked me about the sacrifice of my sister. I told them nothing is working and I am tired of all these things. When I said these words they all got furious against me and they asked me, "Do you want to die?" I said, "Please don't kill me." Then an elder placed his hand on my head. As a result I saw my spirit leaving my body, and I saw that I was taken to captivity for rebellion. I was sent to a spiritual prison in the temple, where my souls were incarcerated. I saw some of my friends who were deceased in that prison. Actually my deceased friend were locked in this unseen prison, and though they were dead and in prison, every night they were released out in the world to carry out mission of destruction. When I arrived in this prison, they told me, "Abby, you are not leaving this prison when you fall here." I told my deceased friend, "I am not dead like you. The priest just removed me from my body in order to incarnate a spirit that will animate my body." When I was in this prison with deceased souls, I saw my body laid on the altar by the priest. I watched these priests summoning a demon that was supposed to enter my body and replace me in my body in order to animate it. While they were doing magic prayer, I saw a demon coming from far and he kept repeating and saying, "The spirit of Meng-U, the spirit of Meng-U." Finally the demon entered my body and began to animate it. The demon stood up. I was in jail watching this demon animating my body and behaving like me. The priest told this demon, "Now you can go and get Rachel." Then the demon that was in my body went out of the temple, and I saw him walking the street with my body as if it was me, while I was detained in this prison. When I saw this demon in my body behaving like me, I said to my deceased friend, "You often leave this place in order to carry out mission. Can you help me follow this demon that is using my body?" However, given that my friends only work in the night, they could not help. Later on, I was visited by a priest that like me in the temple. He was concerned that this demon was walking in the street with my body. The priest told me, "Abi, I will help you." The priest said to me, "We have the body of a man who is in a out-of-body journey here. I will bring it so that you can enter inside and use it." The priest told me, "You need to follow the demon that is using your body in order to avoid damage of your body." The priest brought me the body of the man who was in out-of-body journey, and I entered inside that body. I occupied the pocket where his spirit dwell in order to animate it, for I was to follow the demon that was animating my body. I saw that this demon was walking with my body slowly in the street. Finally the priest got my spirit out of captivity, and I went out in order to try to recover my body. I was walking in a relative distance behind him, making sure that he does not see me. This demon was using my body and I was using someone else's body. I kept following this demon that was walking the street, when suddenly he disappeared. The angel of Satan Jorgen told me, "This demon has sensed your presence, and he has discovered that you are following him. He has not disappeared, he is just trying to hide from you." Immediately I performed the move that he did. As a result I saw him again. When he saw me he started saying and repeating, "Meng-U, Meng-U." He was actually speaking Japanese. As he kept repeating his name, I said enough, and then he stopped speaking in Japanese. Then he asked me, "Are you gonna keep up with me?" He told me, "The body you are using is not yours." I said, "Is the body you are animating yours?" "You are using my body." Then he disappeared. Quickly I use what we call Vespo, which mean witches and Satanists can take a cane or a toy and turn them to a plane. I took a cane of sardine and I turned it to a plane through magic formula, and I traveled to my auntie where Rachel was. When I got there I found the body of Rachel, but her spirit was not there. This demon came in this compound because there was no prayer, and when he pointed his hand towards Rachel, he called her spirit out of her body. When Rachel had left her body she had eyes closed. She followed the demon. The angel of Satan Jorgen informed me that the demon had called Rachel's spirit out of the body and they have already left the place. They are in the street moving. When I scanned the city I saw them in the street. Immediately I teleported and I landed before them in the middle of the street. This demon that was moving with the spirit of Rachel that was following him. Rachel's eyes was closed but her spirit was moving, because there were wheels placed under feet that was causing her to walk though she was subconscious. I told this demon, "What are you doing with my sister?" Immediately I summoned the goddess Shikidina of the ocean. When she showed up, she shot this demon with fire. As a result I saw my body that he was using falling to the ground. My sister's spirit kept walking as a wandering spirit. I saw the goddess Shikidina pulling the demon out of my body, and she looked at the demon and said to him, "Go back where you come from," and she threw the demon in the air and the demon disappeared. The goddess came to me and she placed her hand on my head, and she pulled me from this body that I was using and she returned my spirit in my body. And before leaving the goddess Shikidina told me, "You must salute the god of the land." When the goddess has left the place, it was covered with a mist which made me disappear, but I landed in another. The Lord said the electronic puce is ready, all the system is ready, very soon it will be made available. Initially it will be voluntary, then it will become mandatory.